さあ、岡部さん。リラックスしてください。あなたは私の声を架け橋として過去へと降りていきます。どんどん降りていって、やがて柔らかい色をした光が見えてきます。
I forgot that the mouse click doesn't really work for this game, so I'm gonna have to use the enter key. I was dreaming. Daydreaming. I was aware that I was lying on a big sofa, undergoing counseling. I tried my best to stay calm, and imagine what the psychologist was telling me.
その光は何色に見えますか？赤ですか。なるほど。その光の中にあなたの大切な人が立っています。その人はあなたの家族でしょうか？
いや。
では友人？それとも恋人？
恋人。いや。恋人じゃない。友人ですらない。
ではどういう？
俺とあいつは。
Memories came flooding back into my mind like a geyser. Okabe is not gonna have a good time this episode.
ベータ世界線へ行きなさい。マユリが死なない世界へ。それがあんたのためでもあるし、私のためでもある。岡部は私のこと覚えててくれる。
Oh man, I'm editing this part of the original game right now. Man.
死ぬのかな。
It's, you know when you have to relive the same scene like multiple times because you're editing a video? Yeah, I am like Okabe right now and I'm having PTSD because I've seen these scenes so many times while editing that they're ingrained in my mind like they are like Okabe's. I slightly feel the pain Okabe is feeling somehow.
死にたくないよ。
岡部さん。
俺が刺した。俺が。
いいですか？私があなたの肩を叩きます。それを合図に意識がはっきりしてきますから。3、2、1、はい！
There was a loud sound. Then I felt an impact on my shoulders. Kurisu's suffering face disappeared instantly, and I could feel my consciousness awakening. I stood up off the sofa. I felt dizzy and almost fell over.
大丈夫ですか？ 少し休んでいてください。今、タオルを持ってきますから。
The psychologist left the room. I realized I was soaked in sweat. The air conditioner was working, so I could tell it wasn't from the heat. It was the first time I tried hypnotherapy at a mental health clinic. Hypnotherapy. What is hypnotherapy? A method of therapy where the patient is placed in a hypnotic state, and the therapist acts directly on their subconscious mind to remove the psychological traumas that led to mental illness. In Japan, there is no government certification system for hypnotherapy, but therapeutic associations do offer their own certifications. Certified hypnotherapists are sometimes called hypnosis technicians. Hypnotherapy. My body felt strangely heavy. When I got outside, it was late. It was night. And late. Late at night. It was almost December, and the wind was cold. November 29th.
どうだったオカリン
Aw. Yeah, Yuri looks so cute in her winter outfit. Mary Sheena asked me gently. Mary was a high school student, and my childhood friend. She'd come with me to counseling today. I told her I didn't need her too, but she left school early to come. All I ever did was make her worry. Around 3 months ago, my one obsession had been saving her. To me, she had always been someone I had to protect. And now, she was worried about me. Sorry, Mayuri, but I gotta see my text messages real quick. Who texted me on the ride? Suzuha? Suzuha, got a sec? Uncle Ocarine? I'm currently with Mayuri, so wait, what does? Oh, but I refuse. Okay, why do they have a sticker of Kurisu? Why do they have a sticker of Kurisu? Good question. Why do they have the sticker Kurisu? Wait, is there any more? No, these are the only ones I can do. So I should probably go with the ... with Mayuri because I'm with someone right now. Yeah, let's do that. Sorry, Suzuha. Yes? No? Answer me! Oh no. I'm sorry, Suzuha. This is why Big Sis Mayu has such a hard time. Why are we talking about Mayuri now? Who knows? Well, because you're sending an image of her to Suzuha. Think strange. It was only because of Mayuri's recommendation that I tried counseling.
まあ、大したことないってさ。
I told her a small lie to make her feel better. Actually, they told me that I had suffered serious trauma. They'd stopped the hypnotherapy and given me a course of counseling and drugs. Now they wanted to wait to see the results. Basically, they decided that there was nothing to do but to treat my symptoms and wait for it to heal naturally. I couldn't tell if what Maho had shown me yesterday was having an effect. I underwent treatment without telling the psychologist about the time machine, or the world lines, or most of the things that had happened, so maybe there was no way for them to make a proper diagnosis. In any event, I decided not to think too much about the results.
なあ、まゆり。夕飯、これからだろ。何か食べに行くか。おごるぞ。
それなら秋葉原に行ってもいいかな。ルカ君とフェリスちゃんがね、久々にオカリンに会いたいって。
Akihabara. Huh. The clinic was in walking distance of my house. Akihabara was much farther away. But even so, I couldn't turn down Mayuri's request. This is a familiar sight. Wait, did they just... This is the same image, but everyone's wearing coats. This is the same image from the previous game, but people are wearing coats in this. Until the events of this summer, I'd gone there almost every day. In fact, I'd practically lived there. Lately, I only went 3 times a week, at the absolute most. And then, only to go shopping on the way home from school. We went out into the plaza in front of the station. Just like in Ikebukuro, even though it was only a month until Christmas, there were barely any decorations. I was sure the whole place would be covered in them the minute it was December 1st. Eventually, I was sure to see maids in Santa outfits.
秋葉原でチラシを配るサンタ服を着たメイドか。
Akihabara could be really weird.
ああ、フェリスちゃんとルカ君だ。てってれー。とにゃー、ちょうなー。
Okay, she was not this cute in the anime. She was not this cute in the anime. She was still adorable in the anime, but she is even more cute in the visual novel sprite.
Okabe-san, Mayuri-chan.
Ferris and Luca must have been waiting. They ran over as soon as they saw us.
会いたかったにゃー。
Ferris99 jumped at me without the slightest hesitation. She was a maid, and Ferris wasn't her real name. I knew her real name, but if I didn't call her Ferris at all times, even when she wasn't working, she'd get mad at me. She was wearing the same outfit she always wore, her work clothes from her job at the Maid Cafe, Maid Queen 9 Square. Was Maid Queen going to switch to Santa outfits soon?
やめろよ。みんな見てるだろ。
I tried to pull Ferris off me, but it wasn't working. Maybe I should just steal the cat ears off her head.
いいじゃないかにゃ。京馬とフェイリスの仲だにゃ。
よくない。あと、京馬っていうのもやめてくれって。
なんで？
あの名前は黒歴史だからだ。
Dark past. What does dark past mean? Dark past. Net slang. An embarrassing part of your history that you would rather not talk about, and that you wish was forgotten. Its origin can be found in a certain famous giant robot anime. Oh. Really? Shoot, I don't... God damn it. Ah! I feel like I should know this one, but I don't. Fuck. I don't think it's Ava. Is it Evangelion? Fuck, no, I don't think it's Evangelion. It might be Gundam. I've not seen any of Gundam, so I wouldn't know. But this could be an Evangelion reference. God, I actually don't know. Ah. Someone in the comments will yell at me the answer. back to the game.
うにゃー
Ferris looked upset, but I decided to ignore her. Kyoma Halloween was part of a past I'd seal away. I decided to pretend he never existed. He had meddled with the forbidden invention called the Time Machine, and as a result, the systems that rule the world had punished him. He dashed the hopes of many, lost the life of someone he cared for, and his heart had suffered grievous wounds. He must never be awakened again. I didn't need him anymore.
じゃあなんて呼べばいいのかにゃ。
そりゃあ岡部とか。
Okarin?
やっぱりオカリンって呼ぶのが可愛くていいんじゃないかな。ねえフェリスちゃん。
By the way, Ferris is what Mary calls Ferris. Dang it. Okay. So, I pronounce both of them as Ferris, despite how, there's A in her name, but there's also an E in Mary's nickname. But should I pronounce the Ferris with an A as Faris? Should I actually pronounce it as Faris instead of Ferris? Should I actually call, Ferris Faris? Cause that's the way it's supposed to be pronounced from the looks of it. But I'm gonna say Ferris because Ferris slides off the tongue a lot easier than Faris. By the way, Ferris was what Mary calls Ferris. She claimed that it was easier to pronounce, or something like that. Mary's not wrong. If you're supposed to pronounce the Ferris with an A as Faris, Ferris is a lot easier than Faris.
マユシーが言うならこれからそう呼ぶにゃ。なんだか違和感あるけど。
If you say so. She looked unsatisfied, but she backed away.
ルカ子も久しぶりだな。
はい。
Aww. Lukako smiled happily. He always looks as beautiful as a pretty girl. But he's a guy. He was a classmate of Mayuri's and could often be seen helping at the Yanabayashi Shrine, where his family lived. Yanabayashi Shrine. What is the Yanabayashi Shrine? A shrine in Akihabara. Cross Mansebashi Bridge, then go down the side street. Then go under the bridge there, and you'll see it along the river. Home to many stray cats, as well as Luka Rushibara. That is the Yanabashi Shrine. Oops, I accidentally opened the tips again. Oops. There we go. I probably shouldn't call him Lukako. Just like I told Ferris not to call me Kyoma. He had his own name, Luka Rushibara. But calling Lukako Luka after all this time, that would be really embarrassing.
なんだかとても懐かしいような気がします。僕、時々ラボに顔を出すんですけど、岡部さん、最近あんまり来ていませんよね。
ああ。大学のゼミが忙しいんだ。ATF の準備もあったしな。
Even after that was done, I'd been busy with Maho and Dr. Leskinen, and then Amadeus. I hadn't had a chance to rest. But I avoided mentioning that to them.
あと、サークル活動もしてるしな。
サークルに入ったんですか？何のサークルかにゃ？やっぱり UFO とかユーマとか。
UFO and UMA. I don't know what UMA is. Hold up. Okay. I'm gonna read UMA. Oh, that's the terminology. Actually, no, I have seen UMA before, but I don't think I've seen that abbreviation as common as UFO, but I think I've seen UMA before. Unidentified mysterious animal. A creature whose existence has not been confirmed by science. Examples include the Loch Ness Monster, the Yeti, or the Japanese Kappa and Tsushinoko. The word UMA itself was invented by the Japanese, and no one outside of Japan will recognize it. That's why I didn't recognize it. I think I've seen it before, but I never really, knew what it stood for because of that last part. No one outside of Japan will recognize it. Well, now I will. Unidentified mysterious animal. UFO. Unidentified flying object. Usually used to refer to spacecraft piloted by aliens. This term actually describes any kind of flying object whose nature is unknown. UFO and UMA. Unidentified mysterious animal. Who do you guys think I am? I guess I hadn't told them, then. Mayuri. I'm pretty sure I told her. As the two of them looked at me with wide eyes, I cracked a knowing smile and puffed out my chest.
テニスサークルだ。
Oh, wait. I was not expecting that, actually. The people around us all turned to stare at Ferris and Lukako.
なんでテニスサークルなのかにゃ。岡部さん、今までテニスなんてやってましたっけ？
初心者に決まっているだろう。
I may not look it, but I'm terrible at sports. I'm confident I'd lose to Mayuri at distance running. You're pretty good at cycling in the previous worlds. I'm confident I'd lose to Mayuri at distance running.
じゃあにゃんで？
話せば長くなるんだが、大学のゼミの准教授がテニスサークルの顧問なんだ。それで勧誘された。
一つも長くないにゃ。
いや、まあ聞けって。相手は一応世話になってる人だし、サークルに顔を出してみたんだ。
ふーん。
そうしたら、なんと俺にはテニスの才能があるらしくてな。初心者にもかかわらず、会員相手に連戦連勝だったんだ。
This has to be a lie.
どうだ、大したもんだろ。
岡部さんってやっぱりすごいです。
こんなことならプロテニスプレイヤーを目指しておけばよかったかな。
目指せウィンブルドンだね。
どうしたフェイリス、頭でも痛いのか。
どこからどう突っ込めばいいのやら。どう考えてもサークルの会員数を増やすための罠じゃないかにゃ。
Before we continue on, I'm gonna turn down the music a little bit because the music's a little bit loud, so I'm gonna turn it down a little bit so that I can hear the voices. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, I think that's good. You can still hear the music, but it's just a little softer now.
いや、はっきり言うなよ。俺もうすうすそうじゃないかと思ってたけど、考えないようにしてるんだから。でもみんないい人ばっかりなんだぞ。
じゃあサークルの練習が忙しいんですね。
いや、練習はあんまりしてないかな。
はい。じゃあ一体何してるんや？
合コンとか。
Their shouts filled the whole street, and once again, people turned around to stare.
そんなに驚くことないだろう。俺だって普通の大学生なんだから。
そうですよね。すみません。でも、
Luca was fidgeting like he wanted to say something.
フェイリスというものがありながら他の女の子たちと楽しく交換。許せないにゃ。
勘違いするなよ。俺は女の子なんか別に。
In fact, I went along with the rest of the club, but there wasn't any place for a wannabe normal like myself. What is a normie? People who live satisfying and fulfilled normal lives. Examples are people with lots of friends, or people with girlfriends, or people who spend a lot of time at their school clubs, or who go to parties, or who aren't interested in anime, or who go outside Japan during summer break. That is a normie. There was no way I could keep up with the conversations that the, well, normal normies had. While the other men and women were having fun, I would just kind of sit there. A matchmaking party was a challenge far beyond my capabilities. I wasn't going to tell Ferris and Luca that, though.
いいなぁ。マユシーもオカリンと合コンしたいのです。
何？
Mary wanted to do what? Is she old enough to be interested in that sort of thing?
だってみんなで楽しくパーティーするんでしょ。
Evidently not.
間違ってはいないけど、なんだか微妙にニュアンスが違う気がするにゃ。場所はラボでいいかな。ルカ君とフェリスちゃんはもちろん参加ね。あとダル君やナエちゃんやスズさんも。
This is just a party, not a matchmaking thing. It's just a party now. As soon as Nai comes in there, it's a party. Just a party. Just a party. Mayuri turned to me with a guilty look. Suzu. Huh. Suzaha Mane. Also known as John Titor. A time traveler from the year 2036. A true warrior who was still fighting even as I was trying my best to give up. I'd barely seen her since summer. I was avoiding her. Part of the reason I'd stopped going to the lab was that she spent all of her time there now. Until a month or so ago, just hearing Suzaha's name was enough to cause flashbacks. And it was all I could do to endear them. Flashbacks. What is a flashback? A symptom of post-traumatic stress disorder. Patients who've undergone extreme trauma can suddenly, without warning, find themselves reliving the memories of those experiences. Flashbacks can cause symptoms like palpitations and shaking hands and feet. Flashback. Oops. There we go. After 3 months, I could finally stand to hear her name. But I didn't think I could keep it together if I met her in person. Of course, it wasn't her fault, and I wasn't blaming her. So I didn't want her to blame me. She'd never come out and said it, but when she looked at me with that razor-sharp glint in her eyes, I felt something like guilt.
みんな。
ん？
マユシーね。ダル君と一緒に考え ションがあるんだ。オペレーション？
It sounded like something the old me would have done.
っていうと、どんな作戦かにゃ？すずさんを笑顔にしよう大作戦。
Why was Mary talking about this out of the blue? No, maybe it wasn't out of the blue. She might have been thinking about it for a long time. So I decided to respond as cheerfully as I could.
聞かせてくれよ、まゆり。
まゆしーは思うんだ。すずさんって普段は怖いけど本当はすっごく優しい人なんじゃないかなって。ラボにいる時にね、まゆしーがソファーでうとうとしちゃうといつの間にかタオルケットがかかってたりするの。すずさんに聞いてもそんなの知らないとしか言わないんだけど。あ、僕もそういうことありました。以前お父さんに買い物を頼まれて、その帰りに荷物が重くて困っていたんです。そうしたらあまねさんが通りかかって何も言わずに持ってくださったんですよ。
へえ、初耳だな。
こんなこと当たり前だから誰にも言うなって。あ、言っちゃいましたけど。
そっか。
In the Alpha World mind, she was a cheerful girl who smiled at everyone, and who loved to go mountain biking. But in this world mind, she wasn't the type who smiled a lot. This was partially due to the way she'd grown up. I heard about it third hand from Daru, but because of the universal conscription program that started after World War III broke out, she'd been forced to undergo military training ever since she was in middle school. And after that, she joined up with the anti-government forces and got caught in a terrible struggle. After that, he said, she never really smiled.
だからね、すずさんを本当の笑顔にしたいのです。
なるほどな。
で、具体的には何をするのかにゃ？クリスマスパーティーだよ。クリスマスパーティー？
We all spoke in unison.
もうすぐクリスマスでしょ。すずさんね、そういうパーティーをやったことがないんだって。だからまゆしーはすずさんにそれをプレゼントしようと思ってるんだ。
Aww. Ferris and Luca nodded at almost the exact same time.
その話乗ったにゃ。
Aww. The little point Ferris is doing with her paw is really cute.
僕も。
ありがとう。オカリンも参加してくれる？
そうだな。
ダメかな。
俺はともかく鈴葉が嫌がるんじゃないか。
I was never going back to the past. I still couldn't forget the look on Suza's face when I told her that. It was an expression filled with anger and despair. She must have felt like her last, most desperate hope was crumbling away right in front of her eyes. The words she'd said to me then were still sharp thorns lodged in my heart.
鈴葉は俺を嫌ってるし。
マユシーはそうは思わないよ。すずさんはね、オカリンを怒っちゃったこと後悔してるんじゃないかな。その気持ちを素直に言えないんだと思うのです。
そうだろうか。
きっとそうだよ。
I couldn't turn her down after Mayuri said that.
わかった。少し考えてみるよ。
ところで、岡部さん。
There was a bit of hesitation in Luca's voice.
診察はどうでしたか？
Evidently, Luca had heard about my counseling from Mayuri. Maybe he'd wanted to see me because he was worried about how it went. I guess I'm making Luca and Ferris worry too. In this world line, they hadn't joined the lab. But even so, they were still dear friends. Join the lab! Lab members. This term refers to official members of the Future Gadget Laboratory, and anyone who's been given this designation has free access to the lab. Lab members are given numbers in the order that they joined. Lab members.
催眠療法というのは初体験だったが、なかなか興味深かったな。俺は今まで催眠術なんかにはかからないと思ってたよ。驚いた。
かかっちゃったんですか？
見事にな。
へえ。そういうルカニャンも催眠術とかすぐにかかりそうだにゃ。
Oh my god! Ferris!
そんな。
確かに速攻でやられるだろうな。
Luca would believe anything you told him. Anyway, there was no point in standing around forever. I was getting hungry, and it was time to find some place to eat.
なあ、お前たち何が食べたい？おごるぞ。
We decided to head toward Yodobashi. There were a lot of restaurants there, so it was perfect.
やったにゃ。超なじゃなくてオカリン太っ腹にゃん。
Almost did a spit take. I almost did a fucking spit take, but I swallowed it down. God, if I did a spit take right on my laptop, that would have really been bad. Ouch, my throat hurts now.
ありがとうございます。何食べようかな。唐揚げかな。ジューシー唐揚げ？マユシーはそればっかりにゃ。
I walked behind the three of them, and I thought to myself, what would it be like if Kurisu were here? I tried my hardest for the past few months not to think about her, but was it because of my experience yesterday that I did anyway? The expressions and little mannerisms I'd seen yesterday, the voice, the way she'd walked, I remembered my conversation with her.
岡部倫太郎さん、はじめまして、牧瀬クリスです。どうぞよろしく。
I couldn't respond at all. Something felt slightly off about the way Kurisu moved on the screen. But it was really slight. I'd get used to it soon. more importantly, the voice and the way she spoke were exactly like the real Kurisu. I almost cried. And it was all I could do to stop from breaking down.
先輩、そちらは深夜というわけではないですよね。
The camera on the PC switched from me to Maho.
ええ、違うけれどなぜ？
Maho. I think you're supposed to pronounce it as Maho, but I pronounce it as Maho. I should probably pronounce it as Maho because that's her name, but I might just do Maho anyways. No, Maho kind of, you can say it a lot easier than Maho.
お二人とももしかして眠いのではないかと。
Was she talking about the fact that I didn't respond to her introduction?
私はさっきまで寝ていたけれど、今はもうしゃっきり目が覚めているわ。
だらしないのは相変わらずですね。
失礼なことを言わないで。
では先輩、もう一つ質問しても？
ええ、何？
岡部倫太郎さんとはどういう関係ですか？
この前の ATF セミナーに参加してくれた学生よ。なかなか研究熱心だと思ったから連れてきたの。
Maho decided not to tell Amadeus that I was a friend of Kurisu's before she died. Why, I wonder? Did she not want Amadeus to find out? Or was I supposed to tell her myself?
へえ、先輩にそう言われるなんて大したものですね。
The Kurisu on the screen turned to me and smiled.
その
Calm down.
岡部さん、専攻はやはり脳科学ですか？
それは
The words got stuck in my throat. I said calm down! You know this is just a program. Her words, her appearance, even the conversations she's having with you right now, they're all artificial. But even though I knew that, I still couldn't speak. I had no idea what to say. And more than that, the words, nice to meet you, hit me harder than I thought they would. This wasn't the Kurisu I spent those 3 weeks with. Maho had told me this ahead of time, and I thought I understood it. But hearing it from myself hurt more than I imagined. I regretted not taking my anxiety meds, but it was too late now. My heart rate soared, and my breathing became irregular. My head was spinning, and the corners of my vision were beginning to dim. At some point, my lips had gone totally dry.
どうかしました？岡部さん。
Kurisu sounded worried. That voice software must be pretty good, if it could handle nuances like that.
彼の専攻は脳科学ではないわ。だけど、私たちの研究にとても興味があるんですって。
そうなんですか。
レスキネン教授も気に入ってるみたいだし、いずれは私の助手にでもしてやろうかと思っているところよ。
My head snapped up in surprise at Maho's bizarre statement. Me? Maho's assistant? Then I'd go to Victor Condria University?
あら、お気に召さない？
お気に召すとか召さないとかそういう問題じゃなくて。
ま、冗談だけれどね。
冗談？
もしかして本気にした？
信じちゃいない。
I wasn't going to tell her that I almost did.
そう。でも、もっともっと勉強してくれれば、 あながち冗談じゃなくなるかもしれないわよ。
仮にそうだとしても、レスキネン教授の助手がいい。
This was my way of getting back at her.
教授の助手って思っている以上に大変よ。あの方は本当に子供だから。
As she spoke, she quietly came over next to me and tapped me on the arm a few times. I see. So that was it. She was making a joke to try and calm me down.
悪かった。ありがとう。
何のことかしら？
I didn't think subtlety was her thing. Maybe I was wrong?
先輩、ちょっと。
Kurisu beckoned to Maho. Oh my god, I think I remember this part. Kurisu beckoned to Maho from within the screen in a very human manner.
何？もうちょっとこっち。スピーカーに寄ってください。
Maho moved her ear close to the speaker. I was just thinking about how weird it was when... I was thinking about how weird it was when...
Huh?
Maho suddenly turned bright red and shouted at the screen.
そんなわけないでしょ。何を言ってるのあなた。そんなに照れなくても。照れてるわけじゃないわ。とにかくおかしなことを言うのはやめて。そうですか？そうです。
一体何の話を？
It was obvious that Kurisu had whispered something to Maho. What did she say? Maho glanced at me. And for some reason, she blushed and turned away. Ah, I see. From the way Maho was acting, and I knew about Kurisu, and what I knew about Kurisu, there was only one possibility.
このスイーツかっこ笑い目。
Mainstream woman. A pejorative term used to refer to girls who are easily influenced by trends, or think in ways that men find impossible to understand. However, it is said that the only people who use it often are boys who have very little experience with women. Mainstream woman. I whispered a name I'd often teased Kurisu with, and suddenly felt a lot better. She must have said something stupid like, "You two make a good couple," or "You finally found a man." Huh. The way she looked at a boy and girl holding a friendly conversation and immediately assumed they were dating was just like the Kurisu I knew. Sheesh, what a system. It didn't need to be that true to her personality, did it? I chuckled. Do you think this Kurisu also browses @channel when Maho and the professor aren't looking too? @channel. What is the @channel? Fictional. A huge anonymous message board that's the largest of its kind in Japan. Its catchphrase is, "Everything from hacking to tonight's dinner." And boards discuss everything from underground topics to normal news. Oh, because, I read that wrong at first because I was like, wait, it boards? Oh, boards as in message boards. Yeah, okay, let me explain what I messed up. And it's boards to discuss everything from underground topics to normal news. Yeah, okay, so I thought it meant by it's boards them onto the website rather than the boards actually, are the things that are discussing it, because on my message board, I was thinking of a different definition of the word boards. English can be a weird language. English really is a weird language. Nah. Knowing her, she's probably commenting. I remember Kurisu once browsed at channel on the Future Gadget Laboratory's computer when she knew nobody else was around.
ちょっと入ってくるときはノックぐらいしてよ。
クリスティーナ、お前はやるべきことをサボって何を見ていた？
おい、これはひどい。はいはい、ワロスワロスみたいな笑い方はなんだ？
ROFL. What does ROFL mean? Net slang, short for rolling on the floor, laughing. Other variants include LOL, laughing out loud. Roll for level! ROFLA. Okay, hold up. ROFLMAO. Rolling on the floor, laughing my ass off. And Rollfulcopter! Like Rollful, but with the helicopter. I grew up with these terms. I remember in gym class, I think I yelled Rollfulcopter at some point for some reason. I don't know why, but I have a memory of me screaming Rollfulcopter during the middle of gym class. I think it was during like a flag football game, and I yelled Rollfulcopter before trying to grab someone's flag. I used the term wrong many times in the past because, come on, I was like a 7-year-old on message boards that 7-year-olds should not have been on.
案ずるなクリスティーナ。いや、アットチャンネラークリス。
その呼び方はやめて。
俺はすでに気づいていた。そう、とっくに気づいていた。お前からアットチャンネラーとしての匂いのようなものがプンプンと醸し出されていた。
失礼だな。ちゃんと毎日香りがきつくない香水つけてるぞ。
そういう意味ではない。俺が言っているのは魂レベルの話だ。だが隠そうとするとはいじらしいな。アットチャンネラークリス。
その名で呼ぶな。
Your soul's power level. Huh. My silly remarks seem to have a much deeper meaning now. Was the girl in front of me one day going to, as Dr. Leskinen had said, become a real artificial soul? When that happens, what are we supposed to call a soul that still existed in this world after the body was gone? Not dead or alive, but something in between. This wasn't science anymore. It was philosophy, or maybe religion.
バカな話はここまでにしましょう。岡部さんだってこんな中身のないことを聞きたくて来たわけではないわ。
そうやってごまかすところがますます怪しいですね。
ウイルスをぶち込むわよ。
嘘です。もう言いません。
Kurisu quickly bowed her head. I bet back when Kurisu was still alive, she had conversations like this with Maho every day. I'm sure Dr. Leskinen had a lot of fun watching them. It was actually kind of cute.
お騒がせしてごめんなさい、岡部さん。彼女と何か話してみる？
ああ。
Maho offered me the seat in front of the PC. Well, I did not say that right. Maho offered me the seat in front of the PC. Kurisu's face was on the monitor right in front of me. When our eyes met, she smiled a little. I didn't know she reacted like this to people when she first met them. But my meeting with Kurisu went about as badly as it possibly could have. I realized that her prickly attitude towards me could have been unusual for her.
どんなことでも聞いてください。可能な範囲でお答えしますから。
そうだな。
This wasn't good. I was remembering every moment I'd ever spent with Kurisu. I couldn't think of what to say. And then, the words that came out of my mouth were,
タイムマシンは作れるだろうか。
That's the first thing you say! That's the first... Okabe, okay, hold up. Okabe! Why is that the first thing you fucking say? When you have so much trouble... when you have so much trauma revolving around time machines and Kurisu, the first thing you fucking ask, the thing that has Kurisu memories, even though it's, outdated memories of Kurisu before she died, but still, something with memories of Kurisu's on it, something about time machines! That was what I'd once argued about with Kurisu on another world line. In the end, I'd lost the argument completely.
はい？え？タイムマシーンですか？
何の話を始めるのかと思ったら、いきなり何？
ただのテストだよ。思考実験ができるかどうかっていう。
どうクリス？
そうですね。結論から言ってしまうとタイムマシンは可能ではない。けれど不可能とまでは言い切れないといったところでしょうか。
え？
That wasn't what she said.
最初に結論を言ってしまうとタイムマシンなんていうのはバカらしい代物だということです。
That's what Kurisu had said in the Alpha World line. I remember that well.
俺はタイムマシンなんてバカらしい代物だと思うけどな。
I remembered our old debate and decided to repeat what Kurisu had said then.
そう決めつけるのは早計ですよ。
そうかな。確かに世界中の科学者がタイムトラベル理論を提唱している。主な理論だけで11あるが、どれも仮説の域を出ない。しかも理論同士が矛盾し否定し合っているものまである。
ええ。
例えば宇宙紐理論やワームホール理論。これらは思考実験としてはタイムトラベルを可能にするが、そもそも宇宙紐だのエキゾチック物質だの、どこからどう探してくればいいのか見当もつかない。つまり現実的ではない。
This was also something that Kurisu had told me in the Alpha World line. But the Kurisu on the screen was unmoved.
それは科学者がまだ重大な何かを発見できていないからでしょうね。
それじゃあ君はタイムマシンをいつか作れると思っているのか？
不可能とまでは言い切れない。そう言いましたよ。
Yeah, her opinion was slightly different. Was this because I was in the Beta War line? Or perhaps...
なあ、ヒアジョーさん。彼女は自分がオリジナルの記憶から派生した存在だということは認識しているんだよな。
もちろん。
じゃあうまい例が思いつかないんだが、一卵性双生児みたいなことはあるのか？生まれた時は見分けがつかない。だが育つにつれて差異が出てくるとか、 そういうことを。
それについてはまだ検証中だけれど、蓄積されていく記憶が異なれば当然元の人間とは違うものになっていくと思うわ。私と教授はそう考えている。
そっか。
It was then that I heard the door on the other side of the partition slam shut.
ん？教授かしら？
あの大きな足音はそうじゃないでしょうか。
I could definitely hear somebody stomping around outside. There was a hair in my mouth, I'm sorry. I could definitely hear somebody stomping around outside. And then after a heavy knock, the door to the booth flung open.
Rintaro!
Lintaro? 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 The professor opened his arms wide as he came inside. He grabbed my hand and began to wave it around. I hadn't realized he was this friendly. He seemed to think he was giving me a handshake, but it felt like I was being worked over by a pro wrestler.
Hey boy, what's up?
I'm fine, thank you, and you?
岡部さん、ひどい英語ですね。
黙れクリスティーナ。
クリスティーナ？
Oh no! I was so focused on the professor that I used my old nickname for her.
なんでもない。気にしないでくれ。
気になります。なんで私がクリスティーナなんですか？
だからなんでもないというのに。
なんでもない割には動揺してますよね。
しつこいぞクリスティン。クリス。
Kurisu and Maho both seemed lost in thought.
クリスティーナって呼んでいたのね。
君もそこに食いつくな。
I didn't want any more questions about this. Since the professor was here, I decided to ask more about how Amadeus's memories worked.
教授、アマデウスの記憶を外部から改ざんすることは可能なんですか？
I'm sorry, I cannot. It's fucking Leskinen. It's motherfucking Leskinen. Leskinen is just... Okay. I think I've mentioned this several times in my other videos, but I don't think I can take any scene with Leskinen seriously. I physically cannot take it seriously. I cannot take this character seriously at all because of the fucking memes I made of him. Like, you know all those memes this channel used to upload? Okay, if you were here in 2018, if you were subscribed to me in 2018, you know what I'm talking about. Oh my god, because of all the fucking memes about Leskinen, I cannot take him seriously. I cannot. Like, I legitimately cannot take this character seriously at all. I cannot. Regardless of what he will do in this game, and what he does in the anime later on, I still cannot take him seriously because of all the fucking memes I made about him. I cannot take him seriously! But the professor wasn't listening to my question. He seemed to be frantically searching his pockets for something. Come to think of it, I didn't see that translator device on his ear. He must have been looking for it, which meant odds were good he didn't even hear my question.
私の記憶の改ざんですか？理論上は可能です。
Kurisu herself answered in the professor's place.
例えば私が自分の名前をクリスティーナであると思い込む、そう仕向けることもできるでしょう。ただ普通のデータと違い、記憶データはとても複雑です。今のところ改ざんに成功した例はないと認識しています。仮に改ざんに成功した場合でも、私がそれに気づいて自分で修復してしまうでしょう。私は私以外アクセス不可の領域にログを取っていますから。つまり秘密の日記ですね。その日記と現在の記憶との間に不自然な齟齬があれば、私は高い確率で疑問を抱きます。さらに言えば、私の記憶データは定期的にバックアップされています。自己修復が不能なほどに改ざんされたとしても復旧することが可能なんですよ。最終バックアップから改ざんされた時点までの記憶はなくなってしまいますが。
そっか。
Regardless of the topic of discussion, it felt strange. What Maho had said before she loaded Kurisu was true. I was starting to feel like I was chatting with the real Kurisu. The way she wouldn't let you get a word in edgewise was... The way she didn't let you get a word in edgewise once she started talking about science was exactly like the real Kurisu.
しかし興味深いな。
I turned towards Kurisu and spoke.
君は自分のことを機械として客観的に語ることができている。小説や漫画でよくあるパターンだと、自分は機械ではない人間だとか言い出しそうなものだが。
それは全くナンセンスですね。人間そのものが自分をハードウェアとソフトウェアの組み合わせとして語るじゃありませんか。医学とか心理学とかそういう名においてね。それとどこが違うんです？
なるほど。
さすがへりくつなら誰にも負けないわね、この子。
When she heard this, Kurisu turned toward Maho, her CG eyes big and round. Though it was really just the camera sensor moving.
ねえ先輩、余計なお世話かもしれませんけど、口が悪いのを少し直した方がいいですよ。せっかく春が来そうなのに嫌われたらどうするんです？
だからその話に戻るのはやめなさい。
けど私にとっては今一番興味があります。
一番どうでもいいことでしょ、そんなの。
これが人生最後のチャンスだったらどうするんですか？
あなたこそその口を改めなさい。
Oh no! The fucking laugh! God damn it. God damn it, I cannot take Leskinen seriously. Dr. Leskinen was clapping his hands together and laughing. I had to chuckle a little too. Afterward, the three of us, including the professor, talked to Kurisu, discussing technical subjects and making small talk. The next thing I knew, it had been almost an hour. I actually felt a little sad when Maho told me that it was time to stop. In just a single hour, the strangeness I felt about Amadeus had disappeared, and I felt like I really was talking to Kurisu. Dr. Leskinen stopped me before I left.
テストをやる気はあるかな？
I tilted my head when I heard the professor speak through the translator.
エムテウスにはタヤ散歩が少なくてね、うちの研究室の子たちを総動員してはいるのだけれどね。
とはいえ、アマデウスはまだ研究段階だし、誰彼構わず接触させるわけにもいかないわ。
そこでクリスの友人だったリンタロウにぜひとも協力してほしいんだ。
I remember they mentioned something about being a tester at the party. So this is what they were talking about.
私と教授はしばらく日本に滞在する予定なの。だからテスターをお願いするのはその間ということになるわね。あなたにしてもらいたいのはとにかくクリスと対話を重ねてもらうこと。具体的なノルマのようなものは特にないわ。気が向いたら話をするぐらいでいい。ただ月に2回程度は私と教授にテスト経過の報告をしてほしいの。
それと申し訳ないけれど報酬は出せないんだ。そこも含めて考えてみてほしい。
I don't need pay. I just want Kurisu, Leskinen.
俺は
亡くした友人をそっくりそのまま再現した AI と話をさせる。それは君にとってとても残酷なことだとは理解しているつもりだよ。乗り気でないのなら断ってくれていいからね。
I remembered what it had actually felt like to talk to Kurisu when the monitor was just about to turn off. This is what Kurisu had said. Let's talk again sometime, Rentaro Okabe. That's what I hoped for when I came here, wasn't it?
やります。やらせてください。
I thought I was ready when I accepted the job. But I had never expected this.
はい。
マキセですけど。
Oh? Kurisu was displayed on the screen. Yes, it was Amadeus. The app the professor had given me allowed me to access the servers at Victor Condria University from anywhere, 24 hours a day. What is an app? Short for application software. Any software that can be used by downloading it to your OS operating system. That is app or application.
岡部さんからクリスの方へ呼びかけることができるのはもちろんだけれど、クリスの方からあなたに呼びかけてくることもあるから、その時はうまく対応して。
This I hadn't predicted. I never thought she would call me, or that her face would be displayed on the screen.
それともクリスティーナですけどって自己紹介した方が良かったですか？
She looked really mad. I could guess why. I had gotten 8 calls from Kurisu, and I had ignored them all.
事情はレスキネン教授や先輩から聞いています。だから最初に一言こちらから挨拶しようと思っていたんですが、まさか8回もイルスを使われるとは思いませんでした。なんで黙ってるんですか？
Talking to a realistic girl on my smartphone with so many people around was pretty embarrassing.
まあ、話す気がないならそれはそれでいいんですが。なんなのよ。せっかくいつも以上に人と話せるチャンスだと思ってたのに、バカみたいじゃない。ったく。 いずれにせよ、テスト中は私はあなたといつでもつながっていますから。気が向いたらどうぞ連絡してきてください。こっちも忙しいので、あなたの連絡にいつも出れるかどうかわかりませんけど。
Man, what is this? More than that strangely polite, friendly Kurisu from yesterday. Angry, stubborn, more curious than anyone. The way she seemed to be constantly challenging you.
それではお邪魔しました。
Amadeus, disconnected. I realized that this really was Kurisu Makase. That was the girl I'd spent those 3 weeks... that was the girl I spent those 3 weeks with. Lab member 004. My assistant, Christina, aka Kurisu Makase. Her movements were a little more jerky than I'd seen on the computer in Dr. Leskinen's office. But evidently, that was because of the smartphone.
俺は
This alone was enough to make me feel like my heart was being squeezed dry. I stood still, holding the smartphone tight.
じゃなかった。オカリン、どうしたにゃ？
ああ、今行く。
I thought to myself as I ran to catch up with others. Maybe Dr. Leskinen was right, and this test would be a very cruel thing for me. But even so, in my mind, I was already starting to think about what I would talk about with Kurisu. Whoa. Okay, I was gonna end this part, but as soon as Maho appeared on the screen, you know what? I'm gonna make this part a little bit longer than I, was going to, because I want to read this scene right now. I cannot wait until the next recording session of Steins Gate 0 to read this scene, so I'm reading it right now. Maho Hyajo was remembering. She was remembering the last night she'd spoken to Kurisu Makase in person. 2010, March 28th, 11 o'clock.
冗談じゃないわ。こんな大事な時期になんで私が。
11 o'clock p.m. or 23 o'clock. That night, Kurisu was whispering to herself a lot. Victor Kandria University's Brain Science Institute. Maho and Kurisu worked in the same room at the lab. Thus, Maho was forced to hear Kurisu's angry mumblings whether she wanted to or not. A little was fine, but she'd been acting like this all day, and it was keeping Maho from concentrating. She finally snapped and turned away from the paper she was writing.
ねえ、ちょっとクリス？
English was the language most commonly used at Victor Kandria University. When the other staff and professors were around, she'd always use English. But when it was just her and Kurisu, Maho would often speak in Japanese.
いい加減にしてくれないかしら。
え？ああ、何がです？
Kurisu stopped messing with her luggage and turned around.
うるさくて集中できないのよ。この論文、明日までに教授に提出しないといけないんだけど。
もしかして私独り言言ってました？
騒音郊外で訴えてあげようかしら。
すみません。
Kurisu apologized and started to scratch the back of her head. Maho decided to calm down, by standing up and going to the shelf where the research notes were kept. There were several books she needed for her paper, but they were all up on the top shelf. This must be somebody's idea of a prank, she said, as she stared up at a heavy book. She decided to try and reach for it, but no matter how she stood on her toes, she came nowhere close. Her tiny little arms seemed to her like dead branches waving in the wind. She bit her lip. After she'd skipped grades to go to college, and then come to work at this lab, she had more chances than ever before to hate her small stature. Whenever she walked outside after dark, the cops would stop her. Even with her ID, she couldn't get into bars, and buying medicine and alcohol at drugstores was a pain. The most humiliating part was that no matter where she went, everyone thought she was in middle school. Nobody believed her when she said she was 20. Well, hold up. She's 20 years old. At the time that they're writing this part, she is 20 years old. In America, you can't go into a bar until you're 21, not 20. Yeah, she's 20 right here. And in America, you can't go into bars until you're 21. I'm just saying, America has weird-ass rules. I'm pointing that out while at the same time I'm saying this. She still wouldn't be able to go into a bar because she's 20 years old. Well, depending on the state, she might be able to, but she wouldn't be able to drink. Everything in America was just too big. You know, as someone who is 5'4", I silently agree with that. Yes, I am 5'4". Yes, I am not ashamed of stating I am a small male. I'm 5'4". Well, maybe 5'5". Am I 5'4" or 5'5"? I haven't actually measured my height in a while. I should probably do that because I don't know how tall I am actually.
撮りましょうか?
Kurisu noticed the trouble Maho was having and came over. But Maho was stubborn and decided to pretend nothing was wrong.
大丈夫よ。別に困ってなんかいないもの。
困ってるじゃないですか。
困ってません。
そうですか？
そうです。
でも私も借りていきたい本があるので。
Kurisu easily reached up to the highest shelf and grabbed the book Maho wanted.
背が高い人はいいわね。
いえ、私もそれほど高い方では。
Kurisu covered her mouth when she realized she'd said something she shouldn't have.
ありがとう。助かったわ。日本で何か必要なものがあったら言ってね。送ってあげるから。
はい、ありがとうございます。
Kurisu handed over the book as she spoke. And then suddenly, her eyes went wide and began to sparkle.
ねえ先輩、今の話ですけど。
今の話ってどの話？
独り言ですよ。
え？おー。
It looked like Kurisu had come up with a new idea. This was a regular occurrence for Kurisu, and Maho was used to it.
それって自我の証明の一つになるんじゃないでしょうか。
アマデウスの？
はい。
確かにあの子がいきなり独り言を言い出したらびっくりするけれど。
No matter how advanced an AI was, it wouldn't talk to itself unless you programmed it to do that. And there was no need, or even a point to a feature like that. If an AI started talking to itself, that might be a good indication that there was a self to talk to. But Maho hesitated to agree with her.
ここではめったなことを口にするものではないわ。魂は神が人間に与えたもうたものである。そう考える人たちが多いことを忘れないで。
そうでしたね。
Kurisu's expression dimmed. Kurisu and Maho were both treated as heretics in the lab, especially since they were Japanese and women. And Kurisu was simply too talented. Nobody ever actually did anything, but a lot of the older scientists were definitely avoiding her. Dr. Leskinen was the chief scientist, and the fact that he liked the two of them was all that let them do their research in peace. If the other scientists heard what Kurisu had just said, who knows what they'd do? Maho patted Kurisu on the shoulder.
まあ、しばらく日本でリフレッシュしてくることね。
それが納得いきません。
どうして？向こうの生活だって楽しいと思うけれど。
留学するなら大学院ですよ。なんで高校なんですか？
仕方ないでしょ。日本では年齢的にあなたはまだ高校生なんだから。教授の思いやりは素直に受けておきなさいな。
Maho remembered what Dr. Leskinen had said. Kurisu has a fragile personality. All the bickering in the lab is putting her under a lot of stress, and she's at her limit. Oh my god, I'm not using that voice for Leskinen. It might ruin her as a researcher. Yeah, that sounds like a better voice for Leskinen. Hold up, I want to redo that. Okay, I'm gonna redo that line. Kurisu has a fragile personality. All the bickering in the lab is putting her under a lot of stress, and she's at her limit. It might ruin her as a researcher. That's what the professor had said. He was really worried about her.
それに、もともと7月になれば日本に行かなくちゃいけなかったんだから、ちょうどいいじゃない。
はい。実はそれも憂鬱で。
秋葉原テクノフォーラムだったかしら？
公園なんて慣れてないし、何をどうしていいのか。
サイエンス誌に論文が載った以上、これからもどんどん増えるわよ。練習しておかないとね。
やだな。
Kurisu whispered to herself. Maho didn't like being around lots of other people either, so she knew how Kurisu felt. But there were a lot of scientists who wanted to be published in a major journal, then go on to give public lectures. And she'd beaten out many of them to win that honor. People were jealous. She needed to fulfill her responsibilities, even if justice shut them up. Maybe I'm not that much better, though. Maho suddenly laughed a little, and she hated herself for doing it. Maybe I'm just as jealous as they are. That feeling, which was a little like fear, was something that she always felt. The girl in front of her was just that different from Maho. Someone she could never reach, no matter how hard she tried. Someone who'd surpass everything she's ever done almost instantly.
先輩？
Kurisu was peering into her face, confused. Maho felt flustered.
日本でお父さんには会うの？
She'd heard that Kurisu's parents weren't divorced. Oh, I thought they were divorced. But that they were separated. Her mom was still in America, and her dad was in Japan. After Maho said it, she'd wonder if that was too personal a question. I thought they were just divorced. I didn't know that they were just separated. I thought they were divorced. But Kurisu smiled a little.
実は父から招待状が届いたんですよ。
へえ。
夏頃新しい理論の発表会をするそうです。それを見に行こうかと思ってます。
新しい理論って？
Kurisu's smile changed into a small expression of consultation.
まだ詳しく聞いてないんですよね。相対性理論に関することらしいんですけど。
What is the theory of relativity? Theory of relativity. The term theory of relativity refers to two theories published by Einstein. The special theory, published in 1905, and the general theory in 1916. These are the source of the famous equation E equals mc squared. Special relativity makes clears up the followings. Matter cannot extend the speed of light. The closer you get to the speed of light, the slower time gets. If you reach the speed of light, time stops. The closer you get to the speed of light, the more your length decreases. If you reach the speed of light, your length becomes zero. The closer matter gets to the speed of light, the more its mass increases. If it were to reach the speed of light, its mass would become infinite. General relativity adds the following. Time slows down in the presence of a strong gravity field. Space compresses in the presence of a strong gravity field. Mass increases in the presence of a strong gravity field. The theory of relativity. Maho felt like she was hiding something, but didn't question her anymore.
とにかく気をつけて行ってくることね。お土産期待しているから。
何がいいですか？
そうね。せっかく秋葉原に行くのだから何か珍しいものがいいわ。秋葉原詳しいのよね。
なんでです？
休憩時間によくそういうサイト見てるじゃない。
まさかアマデウスが喋ったんですか？
あの子はそんなことしないわ。あなた、私が後ろにいるのに動画に夢中になってて気づかないことがあるわよ。
まさかバレていたなんて。自分のうかつさが憎い。
Kurisu actually seemed upset for once. This really surprised Maho.
先輩、お願いです。どうか他の人たちには内密に。
別に隠すことはないと思うけれど。
The idea of sharing a secret with Kurisu made Maho happy.
わかった。言わないでおくわ。
助かります。
Kurisu seemed genuinely relaxed. Maho continued.
ね
Wait, relieved. Oops, I meant to. Yeah, I read that as relaxed, not relieved. ごめんなさい。
え、あなたが日本から戻ってきたらアマデウスが独り言をつぶやけるかどうか二人で検証してみましょう。
はい。
Kurisu had a very happy look on her face. It was the face of a born scientist who loved to explore the unknown more than anything in the world. Her smile was as innocent as that of a child who's just been given a new toy. It was very beautiful. And it was one of the reasons that Maho liked the younger researcher quite a lot. But the promise the two of them made would never be fulfilled. In fact, they would never even meet again. It felt like she was thinking about Kurisu more and more since she'd come to Japan. Maho didn't know if it was because she was in Japan, or because she was talking with Amadeus, Kurisu, more often. Or maybe... was it because she'd met the young man named Rintaro Okabe?
私の知らないクリスを知っている人か。
Thinking back, the first day they met, she'd broken down and cried right in front of him. It was something she didn't really want to remember. She chased the memories away out of embarrassment.
さては、岡部さんのことを考えていましたね。
She snapped her head towards the PC monitor. Smog Amadeus. Maho was in the middle of a conversation with Kurisu.
そうね。
She shrugged her shoulders and tried to ignore Kurisu's mischievous smile.
不思議だと思わない？レスキネン教授が岡部さんのことをあそこまで買っているなんて。2度しか会ったことのない相手なのに、あなたのアクセス権も渡してしまったし、あそこまで信用していいのかしら。
誠実そうな人でしたが。
そう？向上心があるのかないのか、少しつかみどころがない人だったわ。
好きなんですか？
あなたね。
Maho brought her face close to the monitor and glared. But Kurisu seemed unconcerned.
別に取り繕う必要はないでしょ。昨日は本人の目の前だったから仕方ないにしても、今は私たち二人きりですし。
Kurisu may not have looked like someone you... Shoot. Okay, I'm gonna stretch out my chest real quick. My apologies. Kurisu may not have looked like someone who would, but she really enjoyed this sort of gossip. Maybe girl talk was the right word. Maho sighed and sat back in her chair. The creaking sound echoed throughout the empty office.
本当にそんな感情はないわ。岡部さんがどんな人なのかさえまだよく分かっていないのだから。
なるほど。まあそうでしょうね。
Kurisu let the matter drop. This bothered Maho a little.
ただ気になるのは。
何です？
いえ、なんでもないわ。
Maho had been spending a lot of time thinking about something since yesterday, to the point where she'd even put off her research. What kind of relationship was there between Kurisu and Okabe? What was Kurisu feeling in the days before she died? She would have liked to ask Okabe, if she could.
先輩、私のオリジナルと岡部さんは知り合いだったんですか？
Maho shivered. It was as if Kurisu had been reading her mind.
どうしてわかったの？
It was kind of obvious.
岡部さんの話や先輩の反応などを聞いて判断しました。状況証拠を積み上げただけですが、証明しましょうか？
別にいいわ。あなたのことだから反証の余地もないでしょ。
The way they used words like proof in normal conversation showed that both Maho and Kurisu were scientists at heart.
相手だけが一方的に私との記憶を持っているのでは、対話に齟齬が出てしまう可能性が高いです。
彼と話していく上でどうするのかはあなたに任せる。岡部さんの方から切り出してくるかもしれないし、なんならあなたから聞いてみてもいいわ。
Maho still didn't know if Okabe would even access Amadeus at all. They weren't forcing him to.
知らないふりをするというのは嘘をついているのと同じことになりますよね。 興味深いデータが取れそうな気がします。
Yes, it was interesting. But that was her opinion, as a researcher working on Amadeus. How would Rintaro Okabe feel about it? Wouldn't this be rubbing salt on the wounds in his heart? Maho realized she was getting much too sentimental.
やっぱり日本に来たせいなのかもしれないわね。
It had been a week since she arrived. The first thing she'd planned to do was offer flowers. But she still couldn't bring herself to visit the Akihabara radio building, the place where Kurisu had died. Akihabara radio building. What is the Akihabara radio building? An 8-story commercial building in front of Akihabara Station. It contains lots of computer and hobby shops. On the 7th floor, there's a plate reading, "The Birthplace of Personal Computing." Wait. Yeah, okay, that's actually a big part of the Akihabara Steins Gate tour. I mentioned this in a previous video, I think, but there's like a whole like big tour that you can do through Google Maps that can bring you to every single location that is shown in Steins Gate, and I really want to do that. So when I visit Akihabara in the future, it's going to take a little bit for me to get to Akihabara, but whenever I do visit Akihabara, for which I will do in the future, you know that I'm considering doing the Steins Gate Google Maps tour just to see every single place where Steins Gate took place at for myself. Oh, who are you? Alright. We're gonna figure out who this girl is next time. I know her design, but I don't remember her name. I know her design though, and I remember she was in the Steins Gate Zero anime, and I feel like in the visual novel, she actually has a lot more importance in the visual novel than the anime, so I'm definitely gonna be excited to see more of her point of view next time, because I'm editing this video right here, right now. Thank you all for watching this video. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you all next time. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you all next time. Mikhail! That was not in sync. Damn it.
Okay.